Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
We got more tape to dive into in this week's show. I've got 4 standout players from the Bengals-Falcons game. This is Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is presented by First Star Logistics. And speaking of, I've seen a lot of you send me pictures of the Bengals on the Brain 2023 evaluation guide. You've gotten yours in the mail. First Star sent those out. Tweet those at me. I'll retweet them for you. And I like to see that. I like to see everyone getting those and the bucket hats that they sent out. I didn't know they were sending those out. So that is a nice surprise. So if you've got something coming in, maybe you were one of them that got one of those. If not, I hope you're enjoying the book. I'm going to get right into the tape. Last week, if you haven't watched it, we went over every single play from the defensive first series. Those are the first team starters out there. They weren't the only ones of the starters to play. In fact, Zach Taylor announced yesterday that starters won't play in the final game either. So the last time we're going to see an offensive starter was the only time, and that was versus the Falcons. And that's Jonah Williams, who's moved from left tackle to right tackle. He's won the job. I mean, it was pretty clear as soon as he was healthy and cleared to go that he was a cut above Jackson Carman. But how did he look specifically? Is there anything different in his game? Who knew he'd have so much power on the right side? The Bengals may have found themselves a right tackle for 2023. Let's dive into the tape right away and see how Jonah Williams played. Getting our first look at number 73 on the right side here, Jonah Williams, the only starter out there. So you would think he'd have some maybe communication or some issues with the guy next to him, but I thought he played fairly well, especially on a few key things here. Now, the run is going to be right up behind him, and he's going against Calais Campbell here, which we've talked about Jonah before with his power and his length, though it's not really where he's strong. And Calais Campbell gets right in there, long arm, boxes him out. You see that, once you get that stack, that peak, that shed, I mean, that's textbook. That's a win for Calais Campbell right off the first snap. That looked like left tackle Jonah Williams. So, not ideal for what we want there, but we get a pass set right away, and he wins with this. I don't think Calais Campbell is a threat as a pass rusher anymore, but I do like that Jonah came out, showed that right hand, and almost like baiting him, like, here, come attack this outside arm, and then he switched it, and look how it lands too. So you switch it with that, and actually it missed there, but he doesn't, the ball's out. So what you want to do, and we'll see it later, is he's going to throw that hand, get him to attack, and then land the punch on the left hand, which is a good sign of independent hand work. You got play action rollout. Look at Drew Sample out there. That's what Drew Sample's good for, but we're going to down block here. Okay, so the guard is going to pull, and Jonah Williams and Max Sharping are going to hit that defensive tackle. And you're going to see this a lot. This is going to be a staple for what the Bengals look like they want to do on offense as he comes down and blocks that defensive tackle right there. Gets a lot of power out of it. Let's look at it from the other side here. Watch how he really gets into that defensive tackle. Really helps out Trey Hill by really knocking this guy 2 techniques over. You're creating a lane there and then he's going to climb up and try and get a hand on this linebacker. And he does. He seals him off, creates a wall. Look at that lane between the two. If Trey Hill would have stayed on his guy a little bit better, I think Chris Evans hits that hole right upfield, or right up the middle of the field. Next play here. Very similar. It's play action this time. So you're going to end up with a very similar look as before, where you're going to down block. And I believe this time the left guard is going to pull around as he down blocks on the defensive tackle. Cody Ford's going to come around and end up being the right tackle. So if you just looked at it right here, Jonah's playing right guard and Cody Ford's playing right tackle. Watch what it does to the linebacker, though. When you pull that guard, because he's reading the O-line. A lot of people think you need to run the ball in order to make the linebackers get sucked upfield. No, they're not reading the running back. They're reading the offensive line. So when you see an offensive lineman pull, you automatically think it's a run, and that's what's going to get them to run upfield. That's going to really open up the middle of the field for the Bengals to throw the ball in that intermediate range if this is what their play action is going to look like this year. Jonah Williams, he's going to be the one pulling out now. Gets out there pretty well. He's got to cut this corner, get to that linebacker. That's his target. And he gets to him. He lands it. He just doesn't, he's not able to finish there. That's when you'd like a little bit more length. You'd like a little bit more athleticism, strength. You'd just like to be a better overall athlete. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't like that? Next play. Very similar to the play we just saw, except for it's not a guard pulling this time. It is a tight end that's coming across and helping on the edge. Didn't work, though, as you can see. This is just the same play from the other angle. There's nothing for Jonah to do here. So just showing the play. An example of trying to run more play action, trying to have guys moving. Hey, Jamar Chase, catch this ball, right? Let's see. Did you hear footsteps? He didn't want it. Grady Jarrett, is that 97? He wasn't trying to get hit by Grady Jarrett on the sideline. All right, next play. Again, down block. Let's move that defensive tackle. And man, does he. Whew. Who knew Jonah could be a power right tackle? Look at this stuff. Watch how far he gets him down. Bang. He washed this guy out of the play. Now, if we can get Sample to hit that linebacker, Ossai hit that linebacker, split him, open up this lane. But Cody Ford can't get his man. Sample can't get his. And it blows up the play. So Jonah does his job. With a lot of power, he did his job. Just everyone else around him there. You got a combo. He and Trey Hill. Again, going to work on this defensive tackle, number 90. Do a good job grinding him out there. Really working him upfield. Calais Campbell, though. No match for Devin Asiasi. Or is that the other way around? Either way, next play. Jonah Williams looks like he's in a pass protection. Looks like we're getting to the end of this drive. What a great jump on this snap. And that was a third down. Bengals end up falling short here. Jesse Bates with the open field tackle. And I want you to watch this because a lot of people said, man, it looks like Jonah false starts sometimes. And what you got to understand is he is allowed to reset that back foot. As long as his shoulders and his hips don't open up and he just kicks that back foot back and not make a motion towards the offensive line. Let's watch the ball at the same time here. He's moving with the ball, right? Maybe a little bit early. That front foot never moves until the ball snapped, which is perfectly legal. So it's a good jump. It's a great jump if you can master it. Watch Lane Johnson, the best right tackle in the league. There we got another great jump and then a good set by Jonah Williams. Best right tackle in the league does it all the time. It's a technique that you're trying to employ. So like I showed you about that handout last time, he's going to do it again. He wants you to think, all right, I got to swipe for that first hand right away. So here it is. He's holding it out there, holding it out. Come get it. Oh, you missed. Swipe missed. Now let me land the left hand. Pretty much kill your momentum with that. So boom, replace, and then anchor. And he does. That's a really good rep by Jonah Williams. Pretty good first showing for Jonah Williams. I think some of his limitations still showed up. You know, his length, his strength. He's an average athlete. But I was just happy to see good technique. His kick slide, his getting out of his stance as quick as it did. And you remember that from left tackle. That was something he really used to give himself a little bit of an edge. Being able to do that seamlessly and look the exact same at right tackle, that's great. Not a lot of guys can do that. As we know, you switch sides and sometimes it doesn't look like the same player at all. And then for the advanced hand usage, independent hands, using them separately. You know, I know if you played Pee Wee or high school and coaches are teaching you to punch with both hands, it's not what they do in the NFL, especially when you're more of an advanced technician and you're throwing one and hitting the other and you're battling through them and replacing and getting your hands back underneath. Jonah did well. He showed it in just a handful of snaps, so only maybe two true pass sets. but he did well in both of them. So it's got to be encouraging. Another guy that if he steps up, it can take this offense to a whole new level. We got a guy like that on defense as well. That's what we're going to jump into next here. And Zach Carter. Zach Carter had 4 pressures all of last year based on PFF numbers. He had 3 in this game alone. Man, if he takes a step, Bengals defense, that could be the piece they need inside. Let's take a look at the disruptive game, very disruptive game out of Zach Carter. Zach Carter here, number 95. Who's the last good 95 for the Bengals? Don't answer that. Let's go B-gap, huh? And we're going to get a reach block from 77, their left tackle of the Falcons, and get in front of them as the play is going to the right. So now Carter's got to fight and get back to the right here. Oh, it's a play action. Eyes on the quarterback. Now let's turn this corner, get this guy off of us. Look how far he came from. He was way over there. So not only has he traveled horizontally, now he's got to win, cut the corner. He does flush the quarterback out of there. I mean, it's not like we're talking about getting a sack there or anything like that, but that is progress. He really wasn't even flashing a bit at all. Like I said, 4 pressures all year last year. This would have been one of his best plays against the pass last year as a rookie. So to get that now right off the bat, it's a good sign. So he didn't get any sacks in this game. So let's bring the expectations down. Can he be a contributing player in the passing game? We know he can be a solid run defender. He did that as a rookie. I think he'll take a step there again. We've got a run stop here for Zach Carter. As you can see, he's getting double blocked here. He's going to take on that guard, but the center's going to come try and really run him out of the play here and really push him down. Watch that. Watch his feet. See how he's anchoring, and you can see the power getting into the ground as he's holding steady against that guy, against the center. And now he's got to get into that lane there. He breaks free, gets off, gets his head on the right side, gets an arm out there, wraps up the running back. Very impressive play. That's a great play in run defense by Zach Carter. So now the get off. I want you to see the get off on this one. Who's the first guy out? The left tackle and Zach Carter are the only 2 guys moving really off that. So that makes me happy. That can get you in a lot of advantageous situations. He's struggling to get the hands off him here. Still, he gets upfield. He splits between the tackle and the guard. He's run around the arc. This is overall a win for the left guards, but the get off. We're looking for the traits and attributes here. And we get a little bit with Carter. Now we're getting a cut block on a wide zone run. You got to keep yourself clean. Use that hand. Jump over him if you want to. Fine, great. Get your eyes back on the ball. Locate it. See who's got it. Keep scraping down the line and then finish with a tackle. This is a very good run defending play again for Zach Carter. Not just keeping yourself clean. A lot of guys will use their extended arms to shield them from this tackle. He jumps over him completely and then finishes the play down the line, staying with the ball, getting his eyes on the ball carrier. Very good play. It's nice switching sides with Josh Tupou. Doesn't even get a chance to reset. Powers his way back inside. It's a split sack for Raymond Johnson and Jeffrey Gunter. If you want to real quick, let's look at Gunter, number 93 on that side. I know we're focusing on, the power move and then the meeting at the quarterback. Very impressive play, but it's not all the defensive ends. Let's watch Zach Carter again as he goes upfield and then hits with the power, right? So he's going to act like he's going outside like he did the last couple rushes and then come back in with the right arm. So here he is, tries to swipe that arm away, misses. Right arm is underneath now, get it in the armpit and try and forklift that guy off the ground. And he does. This tackle's hips, everything's moving. He's getting him out of there. But look, he pushed him back so far that the right tackle actually trips over the right guard. That's how Jeff Gunter knocked that guy and bull rushed him to the ground. It's because Zach Carter blew his right guard back into the right tackle. So it's a team effort there, and he won very well. Got another pressure by Carter right up the middle this time. It's going to show like he's going through the B gap, switch it back to the A gap. This is just a nice, if you can get a guy to overset and beat him across his face, that's what athletes do. And to be honest, he didn't look like an athlete last year, and he did in college, which is the hard part with this. You split a couple guys, and even though the center is not really looking, But man, you get skinny and you knock those hands down because what was the complaint about the last couple rushes? He's not getting that blocker's hands off of him cleanly enough and efficiently enough. But he does here. Watches his left arm swipe, knock that right hand down of left guard, and you see instantly the left guard falls forward, weight off balance. Then he tries to grab Carter around the waist, hold him if he can, try and swat him off of there. You still get the pressure. You still force the early check down. How many of you answered last good number 95 for the Bengals was Wallace Gilberry, who also rushed from inside and was a 290-pound, maybe 285 tweener, DN, D tackle. Not saying Carter is going to be my cousin Wallace Gilberry, but it'd be nice to have a little bit of that. Carter, if he plays like that, should provide a boost to this Bengals defense, and I'm excited to see if it continues. I thought if you even get a bit of that, could be the breakout player for this Bengals defense in 2023. But I have my eye, on Dax Hill now. If you ask me now who the breakout player of the Bengals in 2023 is going to be on defense, I would say Dax Hill. But 2 weeks ago, before preseason, I would have picked Joseph Ossai. And I thought he had a monster game. He had one good play against the Packers, kind of quiet. And I was like, not what I was thinking for my breakout candidate. And then against the Falcons, we saw on Tuesday's show that interception. We'll start with that just to set the tone. And then he had a bunch of other plays too. Let's start this off with the big play that ended the Bengals' first team defensive drive. It was an interception by Joseph Ossai. And that's the guy we're going to focus on in this segment real quick. Not only was that a big play, great play. That's what you need, right? Bend but don't break. But he also had some pass rushes in there as well and some run stops. So let's get him there on the left side, our left side, as he's watching the exchange there. Is that really going to be, you see the hesitation, is that really going to be a handoff or is it going to be a play action? Because remember, the Falcons are running heavy play action in this game. So he's right to hesitate and wait. But then he's like, okay, let me crash down the line and make the stop, minimal gain. So that's what you need when you're an unblocked defender on the backside. And he did that. So again, we got some motion coming across. Jalen Davis is going to blitz off the edge. And we're going to get Joseph Ossai looping back inside for the sack. And 77 doesn't know who to pick up. He and the running back have a miscommunication. Ossai missing the sack there. I want to note that. Even though, he's an athlete, dips inside, they didn't block him, whatever. But missing the sack here is what I wanted to point out for the most part, because it could be a trend with the third-year player out of Texas. Now he's standing up here in a 2-point stance, going to take on 77, peek inside. Okay, is this a real handoff? Looks like it is coming my way. He's going to break out to the outside, get his helmet, get to the outside, force the run back to your help. But if you can plant and get a hand in there for Carter and Jalen Davis, slow that running back down just a little bit, get him to your help, dive in if you can. That's a good run. Good sealing the edge. Good run defense is what I wanted to say. Not a good run by the Falcons. Good run defense by Joseph Ossai. From the other angle, you see him fighting, using his hands and getting in there. I didn't really highlight that, but I'd like to real fast here. You see how he's peeking inside. Really got full control with his hands. That's ideal. That's what you want to see. Now we got a power move back inside. We saw this with Carter, right? How if you can get under the armpit of that offensive lineman. On the right side of your screen here, flip from the other side, same play. Get upfield, burst upfield. Threaten that. Get this tackle to open his hips, turn his shoulders. When you see him do that and you're rushing upfield, this is when you can go back inside and counter it. Turn your speed into power inside, and he does. Gets his hand under the shoulder pad and lifts. You can see him torquing his midsection, using his legs and his arms in conjunction, pulling over, arm over, and then chasing him down and missing the sack again. Worth noting, Ossai off the same edge against 77. Forces the quarterback to step up and around, and a check down for minimal gain. Let's see this one closer from the other angle as Ossai tries to win around the arc this time, but it's play action, okay? So his eyes are inside. So if you wonder why he looked clunky there, you've got to lock that guy out and you got to find the ball. All right, it is a pass. Now knock that outside hand down, try and rip, and then cut this corner as hard as you can while this guy's trying to push you around the corner. So off of a play action, that's not a bad edge rush. Sure, it didn't get home, but overall, not bad for Ossai. A disruptive game for Joseph Ossai as he capped off that first drive with an interception, of course, but he had a couple pressures and a couple of wins against the run. That's going to be the kind of guy he is and needs to be for this Bengals defense. And it's going to be, I think, yet to be seen how much he plays versus Cam Sample, who I think has taken a step and I could have highlighted in this game. And then Miles Murphy, last year's first-round pick. So you have 3 guys there, 5 deep at defensive end. And some of these guys are going to play D-tackle. Ossai did last year. So they're going to play. But you've got probably 2,300 snaps between 5 guys. And your top 2 have been averaging 800. So if that's 1,600 there, you've got another 700 snaps to divide between 3 guys. Are we getting just over 200? 200 and some change, right? Math. I don't want to do math today. That's a downgrade. That's a downgrade for Sample. That's a downgrade for Ossai. So maybe you get Hendrickson and Hubbard down to 600 each. Keep them fresh. That's only 1,200. Now you split 1,100 between the 3 guys. And now we're talking 350 snaps, and you could do it. That could work. You get these guys on the field a little bit more. Keep everyone fresh. Keep a wave, a rotation going. I got one more player before we get out of here today. And it's a guy we don't talk about much because he's probably the 4th linebacker on this depth chart of a good linebacker unit. And he was the 3rd linebacker drafted when they took Logan Wilson, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and then in the last round, Markus Bailey out of Purdue. I think Bailey's a solid player, if not a career backup. Maybe I'm looking at the Rams and Cardinals depth charts the last couple of days, and I'm like, Akeem Davis-Gaither and Bailey would start on those defenses. So we're lucky to have them as the 3rd and 4th guy. Bailey had a good game in Atlanta. Let's check that out. Markus Bailey, number 51 here, middle of the defense, right there in the circle for you. And let's start it off in a pass play, passing situation. Click, close, read it, form tackle. That's what you want out of a middle linebacker, right? Especially when you get a lot of play action from this defense. They weren't taking shots from this offense. A lot of play actions from the Falcons offense. They weren't taking shots deep downfield. So they're defending it deep. And as soon as the quarterback hits that back foot, turns to the check down or to the, maybe it's just this is the read. But you see how quickly he goes in transitions, clicks, close, stops backpedaling, gets planted, flies forward to finish the play. Back in the middle, number 51, next play, we've got a run play and action going back to the right. And you see him here. He actually opens his hips, flips his hips as if it's play action, and then has to fight off the offensive lineman 73 that's climbing to the second level, and it still comes up and makes the tackle. So, man, not only does he say, okay, is this a run? So he defends the run with his read. Then he opens his hips and says, okay, maybe it's play action because how often the Falcons were doing it in this game. So right here, you see the action of the lineman, right? So he's reading run as they go to the right. So you got to go with it. Oh, now it's play action. No, it's not. It's an actual run. And he's got to look through 73. So he's got to locate that running back while 73 is right in his face, a much bigger guy. And then break the outside arm, get in position, break down, make a tackle, or help make a tackle here, right? So we got Bailey and Akeem Davis-Gaither both over the A-gap. They're going to flip their hips and run deep downfield, almost like it's a Tampa 2 look for Bailey. Ball right off his hands. And you see everyone giving him stuff for it, right? Like, dude, what are you doing? Come on. It's funny that ADG is the one pointing them out what to do and communicate, but they're showing like they're going to blitz here. And then they drop out, flip their hips, run downfield. Ball's thrown over the middle, high. He's one hand directly on that ball. Everyone's coming over to tell him to. But I want you to see this. So we're going to focus on how much he's looking at and how much he has to read. So he opens his hips to the right side. There's 3 receivers to that side, counting the tight end. So that's why he's flipping. Now he checks the quarterback like, okay, is this a draw play? Is it actually a pass? Flips again. Okay, anyone coming into my zone, head back to the quarterback. This is all happening very quickly. Head back to the 3 receivers. Is anyone entering my zone? One more look at the quarterback. One more peek at the receivers as the ball's actually in the air. So this is probably why he doesn't see it until very late. Back to the quarterback and back to the ball. Let me find out where the ball is. Oh, that one more peek to make sure the ball wasn't going to his guys. And that does he have to get further downfield? Is he carrying these guys far enough? And, is anyone entering his zone? And you see this awareness and that intelligence and the quick processing on a play like this, where he breaks it up and a pass on a bootleg pass here. Keep your eyes on 51 here. We've got play action. He's going to run with it. Now break it down. Okay, it is a pass. Look back at that receiver, get in his way, force him to redirect, and then getting to the passing lane. Get your hand on the ball again. And this time the defense is going to let him hear about it. Like, dude, how many hands you're going to get your how many times you're going to get your hands on some balls today? Read the run, see the quarterback. All right, now let's look back. Do I got a guy? I do. Yep, the drag route's coming. He already knew. He's already running, but now he's confirming it. Now let me run with him and see how far he goes. He's forcing this guy to undercut him because he's ahead of him. So this is a great job. You got a receiver that's clearly faster than you, and by undercutting him and staying in his way, he makes the quarterback go, okay, second read, here's my window between the two, and I got to lead this tight end or whatever he is, 46. And Bailey does a good job reading his eyes, getting in position, jumping in front of it, getting his hand on it twice. You'd love to come down with that, and he's unable to. All right, next one here. We've only got 1 lineman on his side, 3 D linemen on the other side, and he's showing blitz again. But it's a stunt, and it's the reason why they're lined up in this way. Tufele's going to actually drive down into the left guard. Bailey's going to loop back around the center. And if timed correctly and well, off a bad snap, you force that pressure and the quick check down by Bailey. So nice performance by Markus Bailey, Joseph Ossai, Cam Samples, Zach Carter, Dominique Davis, who I got to cut some clips up and eventually get him. And I think if he has another big performance in Washington, he may get claimed somewhere else. It's funny how the Bengals, if you would have asked me, like, what's the weakest position on their defense going after the draft going into the summer, I would have said defensive tackle. But actually, it's not bad. Like, if Carter takes a step, if Dominique Davis and Tufele, I'm not even sure either of those guys make the team. I think Tufele might. I think Dominic Davis could. I think Josh Tupou had a great game. I posted some of those clips on Twitter. If you didn't see it, follow me on Twitter at Joe Goodberry. Follow First Star Logistics. I got to say that now while we're saying it. But also hit the like button, hit the subscribe, notifications. It'll let you know when new videos get posted. But I think the D tackle room is actually deep, and some of these guys could get claimed if cut. Tufele and Davis, I think both have done enough to show they can play in the NFL. And then defensive end, they're deep. And then we saw Jonah Williams today, of course, in this film review. So I think people will be excited about that, to see that they're solidified at all 5 spots with quality starters. Even the 2015 line didn't have a quality starter at center with Russell Bodine. So I don't know when the last time they've had this. They may not have the Andrew Whitworth on the line, like that top end guy, but they've got 5 good players on the O-line. So I'm excited, to say the least. But this has been Bengals on the Brain. We've got, before I go to the outro, hang on, don't click it off yet. We got a game on Saturday versus the Washington Commanders. Bengals starters aren't playing. Can't play them on that FedEx Field. That thing is a disaster. It's where dreams go to die. So I'm with Zach Taylor on that. But that means offense isn't going to play in preseason at all. Will we see the rust week 1? But then we have cuts Tuesday, 4 p.m. We'll probably see some cuts before that. I want to get out a roster projection. If I can get an episode out Monday or Tuesday morning, we'll see how that goes. I got to talk with my editor and producer here and see when the best time to get that going is. But that's been Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is presented by First Star Logistics, and I can't wait to do this next one because preseason's over and we can start ramping up to regular season. Until next time.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.